All right, let's just jump right into it. Today, we're breaking down a genuinely massive, game-changing update. We are doing a complete deep dive into Perplexity's brand new integration of Claude Opus 4.5, and honestly, this fundamentally alters how we're going to interact with artificial intelligence moving forward. If you've been feeling that friction lately, constantly jumping between different AI tools, trying to figure out which one writes best, which one codes the fastest, or which one actually researches accurately, well, you are absolutely going to want to pay close attention to this explainer. Because the days of keeping 5 different AI tabs open just to finish a single project, yeah, those days might literally be over.
Now, I want you to just think about this for a second. What if you never had to choose which AI to use again? What if one single system just figured all of that out for you entirely automatically? Well, that is not some far-off, futuristic concept anymore. That is exactly what Perplexity just shipped.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for the explainer today. First, we'll meet your new AI project manager. Then, we'll explain the orchestration layer. After that, we'll look at real workflows in action, followed by an honest reality check. And finally, we'll wrap up with a new AI operating system.
Part 1. Meet your AI project manager. We really need to completely reframe how we think about AI tools right now because the paradigm has officially shifted. We're moving away from single-use tools and straight into coordinated systems. So Perplexity has added Claude Opus 4.5 as an orchestrator model inside Perplexity Computer. And that word right there, orchestrator, that is the absolute linchpin of everything we're discussing today. See, this is not just another AI you chat with. It's an AI that coordinates other AIs. It routes tasks. It manages complex multi-step workflows entirely automatically without you having to lift a single finger between the steps. It's kind of like the difference between hiring one generalist employee to do everything versus hiring an entire team that comes with its own dedicated project manager. You provide the exact same initial input, but you get a dramatically better, multifaceted output because a manager is in the background coordinating specialized workers and making absolutely sure your overall goal is actually met.
Moving on to Section 2, the orchestration layer explained. Let's break down the actual mechanics of what Perplexity has shipped here. 19, that is the actual number of frontier models available inside Perplexity Computer right this second. It is a true multi-model workflow platform. It doesn't just run one single model, it routes your work across this massive fleet of specialized AIs depending on what your specific task actually requires, whether that's intricate coding, complex mathematical analysis, or creative writing. And right at the very top of that stack, sitting high above all 19 models, is Claude Opus 4.5. Anthropic and Perplexity chose this specific model to act as the ultimate decision maker. It is literally the conductor overseeing all the other specialized instruments in the orchestra. So why this model? Well, Anthropic built Claude Opus 4.5 specifically for long, complex agentic tasks. It features some seriously extended reasoning and superior planning. But honestly, perhaps most importantly, it has what Anthropic calls computer use capabilities. That means it can take real actions across tools and systems. It's not just spitting out text. It acts as an intelligent agent making executive decisions, clicking buttons, and running processes completely independently. It actually has the contextual awareness to know when a subtask is totally complete and when it's time to move on to the next phase of a project. It is pretty much the perfect model to play the role of the manager.
And this brilliantly illustrates the massive shift in how we work. Look at the old linear workflow. You talk to the AI, you get a result, and boom, that's it. One pass. If it's wrong, you have to prompt it again, or manually copy the text into another tool. But in this new orchestrated workflow, you just give your prompt to Claude Opus 4.5. Claude takes your goal, breaks it down into subtasks, and delegates to those 19 specialized models. Maybe one handles the research, another one writes, another analyzes data, and yet another reviews it all. Then, Claude pulls all those individual outputs back together into one coherent, verified, final deliverable. You never even switch tabs. You don't copy and paste between windows. The orchestration layer handles the entire cross-functional team internally. The whole shebang.
Which brings us to Section 3, real workflows in action. It's time to ground this technology in reality and look at exactly how you can use this stuff today. Imagine you need to publish a deep dive piece on a highly complex topic. Here is the exact researcher to writer pipeline in action. Step 1, you define your goal with just a single prompt. Something like, research the current state of quantum computing for business applications, identify key players, and write a 1,000-word explainer for non-technical executives. Step 2, Claude Opus 4.5 internally decomposes that massive task into live research, source synthesis, audience analysis, and writing. Step 3, it runs a native search pulling real cited web data in real time, which is absolutely crucial for ensuring there are no hallucinated summaries. Step 4, parallel synthesis and writing happen. Claude actually evaluates the research quality and coordinates the writing pass, keeping your full research brief in mind. And finally, Step 5, you receive a polished, fully sourced deliverable. I really want to emphasize this point. Total manual steps taken by you, just one. You provided one single input. All of that massive friction of researching, verifying, compiling, drafting, and editing, all of it was handled by the AI orchestrator managing a whole team of specialized models.
Let's look at an even beefier example, an end-to-end launch planner. Say you're launching a new product management app feature. You drop in one prompt asking for market research, a competitor breakdown, product positioning, and a content calendar. Claude Opus 4.5 immediately maps that broad goal to 4 distinct subtasks. It sends the research model off to pull market size and competitor data. It tasks the writing model to start drafting positioning in the calendar. Then, and this is the real game changer right here, Claude reviews all of those outputs for consistency. If the quality isn't up to par, it literally retasks the models to fix their own errors before packaging it all into one final document. It is actually managing your task, not just quickly completing it.
Okay, let's slow down for section 4. The honest reality check. Look, no software update is absolutely perfect, right? And we need to look objectively at where the cracks still exist in this very new technology, because multi-model orchestration definitely has some real-world friction points right now. First up, edge cases. If your prompt is too ambiguous, the orchestrator might make incorrect assumptions instead of stopping to ask you clarifying questions, and that leads to fragmented outputs. Second is gated access. Full orchestration using Claude Opus 4.5 generally requires a Premium Pro or Enterprise plan, so it's an investment. Third, there is a transparency gap. You don't always get a clear audit trail of exactly which underlying model did what piece of the work, which can be a major headache for strict professional compliance. And fourth, latency. Because you are running a very complex multi-model workflow with reviews and self-corrections happening behind the scenes, it is noticeably slower than just getting a standard single-model response. You are consciously sacrificing speed to get a much higher quality, comprehensive result.
Finally, Section 5. The new AI operating system.
So what does this whole paradigm shift actually mean for the future of productivity? Well, for years now, the old narrative has just been a war of the models. Everyone's been constantly asking, which single model is best? Is it GPT-4? Is it Gemini? Is it Claude? That framing is rapidly becoming outdated. The new narrative is that the platform and the orchestration layer win. We are moving right past the model wars. The individual AI model is simply becoming infrastructure.
It really boils down to this one idea. The model underneath becomes infrastructure. The orchestration becomes the product. Think about your laptop for a second. You don't really care which specific microprocessor handles which specific instruction. You just care that the system as a whole is fast, it's reliable, and it gets the job done. That is exactly what Perplexity is building here. They are betting big that the platform is what wins, not the individual model.
So I've got a question for you, and I want to challenge you right now. What's the first real workflow you'd run through this? Think about it. What is that one manual, totally tedious task you've been stitching together across 3 or 4 different tabs and tools that you would happily hand off to an AI orchestrator in a heartbeat? Are you still running your tasks one AI at a time, or are you ready to start thinking in workflows? The direction we are heading is absolutely clear. AI orchestration is going to become the primary way we work. It's not perfectly polished yet, but the foundation is officially here, and it is incredibly powerful. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what tasks you are ready to automate with this. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Like, share, and subscribe, please, and drop a comment in comment box.